What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the Sony 50mm 1.8 lens. Is pretty much perfect on all platforms, whether it's Nikon, Sony, Canon. To be honest, it's tiny, super compact. It fits pretty much anywhere. It'll almost fit in your pocket depending on what you're wearing. If you're wearing a sweater, this will just pop right in there. The lens itself is only 168 grams, which is super light. This is the most suggested lens by pretty much all photographers. If you are just starting out and say you just have a kit lens, this is the next step to be able to, get some epic bokeh, just blow out the background. It's definitely a huge step if you're coming from, say, a kit lens. The price coming in at $250 US or $350 Canadian, it's not gonna seriously break the bank if you're tight on money and you want a specific look, or you're just starting out, you don't know if you want to invest that amount of money. You can also pick this lens up used. There's so many of them out there already that, you could just look around, find a good deal on one. I do want to say that it's decently quiet when focusing. You're not going to really hear it too much if it is focusing back and forth. I wouldn't suggest it for video because it might pick up some of the sounds of the focus motor going back and forth, because it is a 1.8 lens and the focus motors are going to be jumping and you might pick up some of that in your audio. The lens has 7 aperture blades to get more of a round bokeh, but it's not going to be perfectly round because some lenses have 9, some lenses have 11, but I will say you get decently round bokeh, especially for the price. Like if you want something with like 11 or 9 aperture blades, it's gonna cost you a lot more. So that's just something to look out for. It also has a 49mm filter thread. So if you are going to be buying filters for this camera, a UV filter, which I always recommend for anybody who's buying a lens, slap a UV filter on it and you won't be scratching the front element. If you're going to be buying things like ND filters and variable NDs or Pro Mist filters, then I always recommend buying the biggest size available and then picking up a step-up ring, because filters start getting really expensive really fast, especially if you have to buy multiple sets for, say, the 50mm 1.8, and then you pick up a different lens, and most lenses have different filter threads. So if you just buy the biggest filter thread available and then you buy step-up rings are going to be a lot cheaper than if you were to buy a bunch of different sets of filters. The autofocus itself is pretty decent. I haven't really had any troubles with it. As y'all know, I shoot Canon most of the time, but when I was using Sony, I didn't really have any issues using this lens at all. It always snapped into focus. I find this lens to be really good, especially for the price point. Like, you're not going to be spending a huge amount of money. Your images are going to be that much better. I find that it definitely gives you a lot of bokeh, looks super clean. It's definitely going to take your images to another level. And I find that for the price point that this lens, the image quality, people are going to think you're using a more expensive lens than how much this lens is worth. Overall, I think this lens is an amazing lens, and I think that everybody should have one in their bag, whether it be Sony, Canon, Nikon, whatever camera manufacturer that you have. I definitely think for the price point of a 50mm 1.8 lens, you throw it in your bag, you're not going to remember realistically that it's there when you're lugging camera gear around. It doesn't weigh that much. If you do pick one up used, just remember to check it out before using, bring your camera, try it out, make sure it works. And yeah, I honestly can't really say anything bad about this lens, that it's super tiny. Like, look at this thing. That's my review of the Sony 50mm 1.8 lens. If you did like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want me to review other camera gear, don't forget, leave it in the comments down below and I'll check it out and give you my honest opinion on it. And yeah, until the next video, peace.